Welcome to Extraterrestrial Reality. A few weeks back, I did an episode about a gentleman from Canada where he's using the pseudonym Joe for the purposes of this story. And he told me that he tried CE-5 meditation about 5 years ago in an effort to cure his deafness. He suffers with severe deafness. But unfortunately for Joe, that didn't work. And instead, what he got was visitations by apparent alien creatures, usually showing up several times per week in his bedroom, usually around 3 o'clock in the morning, and he feels like a tingling sensation, buzzing sounds, and then he starts feeling some sort of paralysis when they're present, when they're near, and he has to concentrate to break out of from falling into the paralysis. He feels like he thinks it's sleep paralysis, but it's not exactly like sleep paralysis. And Joe had also indicated that before he tried this CE-5 meditation, he was also interested in out-of-body experiences, and he was trying to do that as well. But now, because of some advice that he received, he believes that it's not aliens after all. Now he says it's demons. He thinks it's demons because for the past 2 weeks, according to Joe, who contacted me via text, numerous texts last night, several, not numerous, but several, quite a good number of texts, where he explained that he doesn't think it's aliens anymore. He says it's demons because when he says his prayers, they go away, but then the next day they come back and he has to say his prayers all over again, and then they go away again. So for the past 2 weeks, prayer seems to be driving these things away. So his faith in God is causing these things to disappear, at least temporarily. But they come back the next night, and then he has to start praying all over again. And this is some of the messages that he sent me. So some of the text messages I received from Joe late last night. He said, he says, every time the tingles and the ringing or humming begin, I start praying and it all stops. And I asked him how long it's been working. He says it's been about 2 weeks now. And he goes, but he added this. He says, but the thing is, they don't quit. They will keep bothering you till the next, bothering you. The next day, praying makes them stop. And I asked him, I said, so the answer is nonstop prayer? And he says, not nonstop. I feel them come and I pray hard for 10 minutes and then they go away. But if I don't pray, I am vulnerable. I just have to make sure to pray every night. And then what else was said here? He said you said it recently celebrating a cousin's birthday, and he went to bed and he was kind of drunk, and it was kind of a long fight that night. He says alcohol seems to make it more vulnerable, and so he's not going to drink anymore because of that. He says it's harder to fight these things off when you have a few in you. And he also provided this horrible looking image. And I'll pull this up on the screen right now. This was actually a CGI image of an apparent alien creature. He provided me something like this before, and he says they look exactly like this, Jim. Right, and that's what he says. And he also says that that now he thinks that they're not. He's come to the conclusion now that these things aren't aliens. They're not non-human intelligence or anything like that. What he thinks they are, he believes that they are demons. And I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. I mean, for all we know, there could be multiple different things going on here on this planet. We just don't understand any of it. I mean, there could be all sorts of forces. There could be non-human intelligence. There could be something else that we think that we are demons. I mean, I don't know about that. I mean, here's the thing. I am certain that the United States government has recovered alien bodies, right? I mean, you had people testify under oath with regard to this, like David Grush. There were numerous witnesses, military witnesses, to the Roswell incident, and recovered bodies. Do demons leave their bodies behind? I mean, I don't know about that one. But that doesn't mean that there could be, maybe there's something else operating here too on this planet. There could be multiple different things, multiple different phenomena that some of them might not be totally unrelated to one another. Who knows? Or maybe the demons are really aliens and they're just tricking Joe into thinking that they're demons by disappearing when he starts praying. I mean, there's all sorts of tricks that could be getting played here, all kinds of mind games that could be happening, or it could be actual demons. And I'll tell you a story that something I experienced some years ago, which I really don't have an explanation for to this day. It was something I did talk about in a show about 10 months ago. A show, by the way, that for some reason flopped. I didn't get as many views as I usually do for this one episode that I did, but I will talk about that a little while from now. But anyway, I also received somebody had commented on that previous podcast where I talked about Joe's experiences. This was somebody from Spotify, Dave, was his first name, Dave from Spotify. He actually sent me an email recently. And here's what Dave writes. He says, "My name is Dave on Spotify," and he goes on to say, "I have been interested in UFOs and also the top I am writing you about astral projection since I was around 18 years old, and I was born in 1958, so for a little bit now. What this man is describing is not demons, and I doubt praying is going to help. It's just what happens to you when you go through the process of leaving the body, sleep paralysis, extreme vibrations, all kinds of loud noises are possible, and a large number of people report something they call the watcher, and it can be terrifying if you are not prepared for it, but it's not really dangerous in my humble opinion. Have you heard of the author Robert Monroe, creator of the Monroe Institute and Hemi-Sync? He wrote Journeys Out of the Body, easily found on Amazon. If the gentleman from Canada wants all his questions answered, he needs to buy Robert Monroe's book and read it. All the answers are in it. This Canadian man did a good job of describing an OBE, out-of-body experience, right up to the part of separating from the body, but got too scared and didn't finish separating. He just needs some understanding and all his worries will evaporate. Poof. Hope this helps this guy out, sort of. So that was this guy. He's recommending a book by Robert Monroe called Journeys Out of the Body. That's what he's recommending. That your answers to this, whatever you're experiencing, would be in that book. But Joe says he found an answer, and he's found it in prayer, and that's what's working for him right now. So that's good. That's good for Joe that he's found an answer. Like I was suggesting, if it was aliens, I mean, one of the things that some people do to prevent aliens from abducting them. And now this was different than that. Apparently Joe wasn't getting abducted by aliens. He was being visited by some sort of presence, and he thought it was some non-human intelligent presence. Obviously it's some sort of intelligence, right? Regardless of what you want to call it, whether it's demons, aliens, whatever, right? There's something was bothering him, and he actually saw them a couple of times. In fact, that horrible picture, that CGI picture that he sent me, that's what he says they look like. I mean, that thing, I mean, that's awful looking. I mean, I imagine waking up and seeing that standing by your bed. I mean, what would you do? And you can't move on top of it. That'd be pretty scary. Who knows? There's all kinds of weird stuff. This whole life is very strange. Very strange. Anyway, I guess it was probably, it was definitely 2017. There was a death in my family. It was very, very tough time. And it was very, very unexpected, way too young. And it was just a hard time for the whole family. Very stressful time. And what happened was, after everything was over with the funeral, and the day of the funeral, there was a viewing in the morning, and then there was the funeral, and then there was a dinner, and it was finally everything came to an end. I remember getting home and just collapsing in a chair, right? And when I closed my eyes, I was like really tired, right? And I closed my eyes, and when I closed my eyes, I saw faces, horrible, demonic, satanic faces, horrible things, like things so detailed and horrifying looking, all moving toward me, one after another, like hundreds of them, like thousands. I don't even know how many. And they were all coming up close to you. It was something out of a horror movie, but it was worse than a horror movie because these faces, they were so scary and terrifying that I can't even imagine somebody dreaming something up for like so horrible for a movie. I never saw anything more scary than what I was seeing when I closed my eyes. So I opened my eyes, I'm like, wait, there's nothing here. But then when I close my eyes again, I'm still seeing them. They're still moving, all different. Every face different, but just horrible. And I couldn't understand what was going on, and I just had to stay awake for a little while. And by the nighttime, when I closed my eyes, I wasn't seeing it anymore. But when I closed my eyes, when I got home that day from that funeral, and I sat down in that chair and I closed my eyes, it was, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. At the time, I'm thinking, I must be stress or something, right? And then a few days later, we had a family gathering, and I mentioned this to we were talking to a few family members, and I mentioned this, and my brother-in-law said the same thing had happened to him, but on a different day. He had visited the funeral home where they had the view, where we eventually had the viewing, and when he went home that night, when he closed his eyes, he was seeing the same kind of images, these satanic, demonic, horrible faces all moving toward, like there was just one after the other coming at you. Like you couldn't even, I can't even describe it. Like there's no artist in this world that would be able to recreate what I saw when I closed my eyes that day. It didn't last, I'd say maybe a half hour, 45 minutes, and then it went away, whatever it was. I didn't want to close my eyes. But I did close my eyes a few times just to study this for a few minutes, because I just was in disbelief at what I was seeing. And I thought maybe it was just some sort of a phenomenon. When you're stressed out, you just imagine these things, and it's something that's a mental thing. That it could be. That could be. I ended up doing some research on this because it wasn't just me who had it. It was also another family member. He had experienced this too. So I did some research on it, and I really couldn't find anything. I couldn't find anything about this, like other people experiencing this when they go through a experience, a sudden death of someone in the family that's totally unexpected and just, just shattering. And then maybe you think in your head, well, maybe it's because of, what just happened. You're just stressed out, and this is what your brain's causing this. But at the same time, I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's something else. Maybe they were real demons. Like I actually came up with a theory. It doesn't make me right or anything, but this is my theory. I was thinking that maybe that funeral home, maybe there's a lot of different dead people that go passing through those doors, right? This funeral home was in a little city here in Pennsylvania. A lot of different, people die and are, brought in there, and a lot of different emotions all the time. I mean, who knows what's going on in these funeral homes? Maybe some souls are like stuck here or something. I don't know. Maybe what was happening, or maybe there's demonic spirits. Maybe that's what it was. I have no idea. But my theory is that maybe consciously you can't see these things, but subconsciously, unconsciously, your brain is picking up on them. There's something there in the air in certain places at certain times that you can't see them, you're consciously, but maybe subconsciously I was picking up on this. And maybe that's what happened to my brother-in-law as well. And then later on, when you get, you try to relax and you close your eyes, you're still seeing these things. You're like, you're closing your eyes, and your brain is telling you, hey, this is what you just saw. Or maybe something was trying to attach itself. Maybe there's some sort of evil spirits out there that try to attach themselves to people. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. Or it just could be some sort of mental phenomenon. I don't know. I don't know what's real with regard to that, and I don't know what's not real with regard to this. I really can't say. I'm sure there will be a lot of doctors out there and psychiatrists will say, well, you were just suffering from, it was a depressing time for you, and it was stressful, and your brain just dreamed these things up. That's easy to say. That's real easy to say, right? But is that really what it was? I don't know. And that's why I did this podcast. I don't know, I guess it was 10 months ago. I called it Explanation Unknown. It flopped. I guess it wasn't the regular kind of subject that I talk about on this show. And maybe that's why it flopped. I mean, people expect UFOs and aliens, and that's pretty much what I want to talk about all the time. But sometimes these things seem to cross paths. I mean, who knows? Maybe there's multiple different kinds of phenomenon all happen and all separate from one another. And we're seeing some of these things, and we can't interpret what's which and what's what, and maybe that's what's happening sometimes. I don't know. Anyway, one other thing I want to talk about. I received this. There was a lot of. I want to say this too. I received a lot of great comments, from people on the in YouTube and on Spotify. I want to say I really appreciate that greatly. Some people, sometimes there's threads, somebody says something and a whole bunch of people respond. I think that's great. That's fantastic. But there was this one comment I want to talk about right now. Recently I was talking about in a couple episodes ago with regard to that strange sphere UFO that showed up in Finland back in 1914, and there was two creatures inside the sphere, and somebody named Steve Wonder on YouTube provided this comment, and I wanted to read this one to you. He writes, He says, I had a similar situation happen one night. I had a really strange dream, and in the dream there was an old man in an old Model T Ford. And in the dream I was at a baseball game or something, and I didn't have a way home, and this old man told me, let me give you a ride home. And I said, wow, thank you. I was really appreciative. And I got into the old car, and as we were driving down the road, it was like we were driving through the dark, and there was all this dust flying by me, and I could see all these dust particles flying by. But thinking back, it could have been stars that were flying by, and I was in space. Then I woke up in my bedroom in the dark. There was an oval-shaped screen, but it just looked like an oval-shaped blue fog above the foot of my bed, and there was a being in the middle, just like described in this video, like looking through a window glass, but it was a blue fog oval with a bluish alien inside, and it was human-like, but not human at all. Basically, it had 2 eyes, a mouth, round head. In the strangest part was when I saw it after I woke up from the strange dream. It was only there for about 2 seconds until it dimmed out of existence. It was a very clear image, vibrant blue fog with a blue alien, like I was looking into a room lit with blue lighting. One of the strangest dreams I ever had. I've had other experiences as well, but that one was one of the significant, interesting ones that weren't like any of the others. This is the first time I've seen anything relative at all, including the oval with the alien inside. You could put me on a polygraph and ask me if I thought it was real, and I'll tell you it was real and I wasn't sleeping. Well, I believe you, Steve. You know why? Because I had an alien show up in my bedroom one time, and there's no question in my mind that it was really there. There was a living, breathing, some sort of entity there that wasn't human, so I do believe you. And I think that's a very interesting story. Maybe that's what it was. What happens sometimes, this sounds like it could have been a screen memory. It was making you think something else was going on, and in reality, you were in a spaceship, but they were making you think you were just taking a ride with some old guy in a Model T was giving you a ride. It was all a facade. You hear stuff like this if you read books by people like David Jacobs or Bud Hopkins, or people who write about UFO and alien abductions. There's lots of stories like this. So that's what it could have been. It could have been a screen memory. They put they replaced the reality with something else to make you think something else was going on, and they were probably trying to make you think it was a dream, and that's all it was. But really, you got 1-2 seconds of reality right when you woke up, and now you're wondering what the hell happened. Well, it could have been that you were taken that time. You were taken away by these aliens, and who knows what they did to you, and then they brought you back, and you saw them for 2 seconds before they disappeared. Anyway, I just want to say this. I want to say thank you all for joining me today. Until next time.